Summer Owens, and I am coming to you with another episode of So What Success Stories. And that's success stories from people who have achieved in spite of any obstacles that they face. And I'm really excited today to be talking to my friend, Jeremy Calhoun. So he is the founder of a co-founder of an incredible organization, mentoring organization called STS Enterprises. And I knew him when I knew him before he started STS Enterprises with his friend Alton Cryer, who I'll talk to as well. But I've always been impressed by Jeremy's drive, his ambition, and his willingness to just put himself out there and ask the tough questions. So he's a founder of STS, but he actually has a day job. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about what he does. Go for it, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, thank you, Summer. And I still remember you come to the University of Memphis for the Against All Odds series and, telling us your story and just blown away, then having you as a teacher for marketing, then finding out that you and my mom knew each other a little bit. And I was just like, wow, it was a small world. It was super motivated and inspired by your story. So
yeah, and I'll say this: your mom got me through a very tough time without her even knowing who I was. Just reading her words got me through.
Yeah, she used to always talk about summer, and then I ended up seeing you at the Against All Odds series, taking the class, and I understood why she kept talking about Summer Owens. So, but I'm Jeremy Calhoun, 31 years old, originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Most people who know me call me Duval. That's the county, Duval County. So
I was wondering where that came from.
yeah, Duval County. When I moved to Memphis, my accent was a little different, and the words I used was a little different. So I wasn't, I didn't use all the Memphis words and the Memphis slang. So they were like, "Where you from?" And I told them I'm from Duval County, and it just stuck.
I love it.
I've been Duval since middle school, and it just carried over to my adult life. But as Summer Owens said, I graduated from the University of Memphis in 2013 with a degree in management information systems from what I feel is the best college on campus, hands down, the Fogelman College of Business. I tell students all the time, if you just take advantage of just half of the opportunities, a quarter of them, there's no way you should leave that college without a job. So I'm a proud graduate of the Fogelman College of Business. When I got my MBA at Christian Brothers University with a concentration in project management. And that's kind of what I do on my day-to-day, doing my 9 to 5 at International Paper. I'm an IT project manager. I manage projects to implement IT infrastructure for the most part in North America and South America, and North America and South America. So that's kind of what I do for my 9 to 5. But my passion, hands down, is STS. I live, eat, breathe, sleep, pray, STS. That's my passion. Being able to work with young people who, like myself, maybe didn't know that they had the potential that they have, and hopefully I could be that light like someone was to Alton and myself, to just let us know that, hey man, you got more there for you, and to whatever you're going through, say so what to those challenges and keep moving. So that's Jeremy in a nutshell. Yeah, I'm married. I met my wife at the University of Memphis. So not only did Memphis give me a great education and help me get a great career, they also gave me a wife. So my wife is definitely the star of the family. Everybody loves her, and she's a Memphis alum, and she works at the U of M. So we're Tigers all day.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Jeremy, I look, I'm motherly proud of you. You can be my child. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. And because I work with young people too, I'm especially proud of what you all do with STS and the lives that you're changing, and how you just keeping it going. It's been beautiful watching it to grow and watching you all to grow and your families grow and all that. It's awesome. It is really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, on this program, I focus on resilience. As you know, that's my jam is resilience and helping people to be successful in spite of their obstacles. And so I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and at the end, I'm going to ask for some advice, which I know you're going to sprinkle in advice throughout the whole thing. But my questions will be about how you maybe even unknowingly use the So What success formula to be as successful as you are, and the success
Yeah.
formula is overcoming obstacles, eliminating excuses, and calculating choices so that you can achieve what I call so what success. And so I know you've had all of those. So we'll just jump right into the questions. My first question for you is, share with us some of the obstacles that you've had in your life and some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome to be where you are today, and talk a little bit about just how you did that.
So I'll start out, one of the obstacles that I had growing up was, I always tell people I'm a product of a statistic. My dad, 18 felonies. My mom had me at 16 years old. Every male in my family is someone that's been to prison, So one of the obstacles that I felt like that was a generational curse for me and my family was as a black male going to prison. Like that was something that I've seen and that I've known, since I was a young kid. And my dad, again, when I was born, my dad was in prison. My uncles, some of my best uncles who taught me life skills that I know today, who spent a lot of time with me, they were in and out of jail, in and out of prison, on parole. And, that's one obstacle that I had to overcome. To me, it was a very significant one because I haven't been incarcerated. No run-ins with the law, and that's true because that's a generational curse that I could break for my family. And I know my dad and my parents, my mom, they're so proud. But that's something that's huge for me. But also, man, having an attitude. Like I grew up. I'm not the tallest person, but I grew up having to be a fighter. Just especially when I came to Memphis, I wasn't used to the Memphis checking. If you're not from Memphis, going to Memphis City School, I always tell people my first day at Memphis City School, I got into a fight. First day, I was just they was checking and I didn't know what to do, and we just got to fighting. And so I've always been a fighter. Like I know I can't check, and it's not my lane. You would never see me in a checking contest. But I always had this attitude to just be against the world mentality that really stemmed from me leaving Florida. I did not want to leave Florida, did not want to come to Memphis, didn't know anybody in Memphis. My parents didn't know anybody in Memphis. So I really resented being in Memphis most of my upbringing. So I used to fight a lot just because I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be with my cousins, with my grandparents, with people that I was familiar with. So I fought all the way from, I'll say, 6th grade to college, and that was the biggest thing, just having that attitude, man. I was that kid that when I was in class, I had my own section. Like the teacher would I remember one in 7th grade, my teacher, she used to put a curtain between me and the classroom. I had my own little special section.
Oh, wow,
I could not
Jeremy.
sit with the class. Yes. Attitude. Like I had attitude, fighting coaches, telling it just started young. I remember I went to school when I was younger and told my teachers, my dad killed before. He'll come shoot the whole school up. And it's just crazy little
How
stuff.
did you deal with that, Jeremy? How did you, because you know what, I'm laughing, but it's so serious, right? It's so serious. And it's a lot of young people who have that same frustration, same anger, and they're good people just like you are, but it can come out just like it did. How did you deal with that?
Yeah. Man, I had to lose a lot. That was my lesson. Like, so I ended up going to college at the school called Bethel. But I knew I could do better. But my coaches, they would never let me talk to the coaches that came to the school. And they always said it was because of my attitude. But I also remember when I was in 7th grade, again, that was probably one of my toughest years, is playing football. We had a banquet. And my coaches, I scored every touchdown that year except one. And my coaches didn't give me an award at our banquet. And I was mad, of course. I still remember to this day, Ridgeway Middle School. It was a Friday night. It was raining. And I wanted to slice my coach's tire. Like, and they ain't going to get a leave here tonight because I felt like they did me wrong. But they told me that, success is not just about what you do on the football field. It's about what you do in the classroom. And I heard them, but it didn't really register until I got to college. I got into it with my college football coaches. I remember, and again, this is just to be transparent. I remember being in FCA. This is how crazy it was. I remember being in FCA at college in Bethel College, and me and my position coach, we got into it because something that I did, but he was enforcing the rules, but I felt like he was doing me wrong. And we're in the middle of FCA on campus, and I'm literally looking at him just like fist balled up, mug on my face. And I told him, I said, bro, I kill you, bro. Stop playing with me. Because I felt like he was playing. Of course, I'm a young man. I'm not going to the NFL, but in my mind, I'm going to the NFL. I'm in college. I'm playing football. I'm thinking the scout, they weren't looking for me. But at that time, I was so serious about it. And I thought he was playing with my future. And I told him, I said, bro, I kid you, stop playing with me. Because I was just that mad. But I had to realize just through constant me taking losses, ended up getting kicked out of my parents. I got kicked out of my parents' house 3 times, 12, 16, and 20. And that's what brought me back to Memphis because I got kicked out. I ain't had nowhere to stay, and just losing so much and realizing that, man, Jeremy's attitude, if you don't take control of it, it's gonna cost you more. And that's really when I had to kind of just kind of chill out a little bit and not try to get so mad in time. And that's really what helped me out. But it took me literally from 6th grade to my junior year in college is when I came back. That was my last football season. When I was forced to transfer back to Memphis. But yeah.
Wow. I never would have guessed that. You definitely got it in check before I met you because I would have picked up on it. I'm like, I never would have guessed that. Well, let me ask you this next question. Next part of the So What success formula is eliminating excuses. And so, you had some obstacles you talked about for real. And the next thing is, you know what? You got to get rid of some excuses in your life. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think just accountability, realizing that at the end of the day, it was Jeremy. And the one thing that I had this always in my mentality. My dad always told me, Jeremy, you're a black man in America. Like we don't get handouts, and I appreciate my dad for telling me that, and that always put me in the mind frame that if something's going to happen, I have to make it happen. And it just really taught me initiative, but it also taught me ownership and accountability. So as I was hitting these brick walls, kept running into these brick walls, I had to realize, all right, Jeremy, every situation that you're getting into, it can't be your middle school football coaches. It can't be your teachers in school. It can't be now your football coaches in college. It can't be your parents. I got kicked out 3 times. It has you the common denominator in all these situations. I really just had to say, okay, Jeremy, it's on you. And for me, it was, I tell people I got to a point where I went from hungry to desperate. And I remember coming back to Memphis, and I'm kicked out again. This July 4th, 2010. I'm kicked out. Though my dad told me, pack my bags. Hey, man, get your stuff. You got to go. So I'm sleeping in my car. I ended up going to my cousin's house, but I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings on Winchester and Hatch Cross. And I remember I got let go early because of labor was too high. So if you're not familiar with the restaurant industry, if customers aren't coming in at a good pace, but you got too many employees on the clock, their labor is higher than what you're bringing in, so they got to cut somebody. And I remember getting cut. I had like a 8-hour day, and I got cut like 2 hours into the shift. And I remember just sitting on the sidewalk in the middle of Winchester and Hancock, which is a busy intersection, right next to FedEx headquarters, and just sitting there, like, man, like I can't do this. Like if I'm really I can't go home. I can't go back to college. I gotta make something happen here in Memphis, and that was the breaking point for me. And that's literally when I said I came up with the term, I'm not that blessed to miss out on any more opportunities. Because I felt like I had wasted too many. And that's literally when I had to put my pride aside. God humbled me when I came to Memphis again. I was playing football on a scholarship. But when I came to Memphis, I worked in the cafeteria in the Tiger Den. One of my church members was the manager. She hired me, gave me a job, $7 an hour. And one of the first things I had to do was serve the football players. And for me, it was so humbling because just the semester before, I was the one, I was a football player. Now I'm the one serving. I remember serving Dontario Poe, who was a first-round draft pick from U of M. But I remember just serving the baseball team, the basketball team in the Tiger Den. And it just humbled me, like, your situation, you could be on the other side of the situation. That really gave me a different mentality to take that same aggression, but be kind of all gas, no brakes when it comes to opportunity, because I got to create them now. And that's literally what changed.
And that's the young man that I met after I spoke to your class that night at the satellite campus. You follow me out to I never will forget that. That's been, I don't know, it's been a lot of years ago, like maybe 15 years ago. And you follow me out to say, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah. And that, so I felt now I was like that hungry to desperate. Then I love it. I love it. And we don't all
Yeah.
have to get to that breaking point, but it's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing when if you do get to that low point where you can rebound just like you have. That's been awesome. Well, that takes me to the next question, which is calculating choices. So the next part of the formula is calculating choices. You got to make some good choices. So now you've gotten to that breaking point and you made some decisions. Tell me about that.
Yeah, but I think the decision started out, like when I had a chance to meet you around that same time. Again, having the mentality that I'm not that blessed to like miss out on opportunities. So I really had to make it in my mind that no matter what, I have to take advantage of every opportunity. So if it's easy to meet the teacher. How many students come to you and say, hey, they get your information and they never follow up, right? So I told myself, I'm not that blessed. I don't have a job right now. I was blessed enough to get an internship at MLGW, but again, that was me, somebody doing the same thing, like not feel like I'm blessed enough to miss out on any more opportunities. So instead of me learning through experience, I'm gonna learn through somebody else's mistakes. And I really just begin to open up and just listen, and take everybody's story and what they've done to figure out how I could apply it to my life. And that's literally helped me out. But that calculated risk taking is that, it's very simple. And I tell my students this today. I remember being in college and it's raining and I said, I'm not going to class today. It's raining. I'm going to go up and go to class. If it got too hot, I'm not going to class. If it got too cold, I'm not going to class. I made up all these excuses. I had so many reasons why I would skip class. So I said, okay, now if I was that bold as a student to skip class, I'm gonna eliminate all those excuses when it comes to doing what I have to do. If I had to walk you out to your car to make you remember Jeremy Calhoun, I'm gonna do that. If I have to stay up all night and submit 85 internship applications just to get five replies, I'm gonna do it. If I have to go above and beyond, I learned early that in Memphis, I'm in the South. Being able to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like that takes me a long way. Being able to put some of the things I learned as a kid into play. That separated me. As a young black man, I had dreads, and that was something that I was always nervous about. Was that was a calculated risk. Like, hey, if I'm gonna have dreads, I remember working at MLG and W. And you I always asking that, hey, when you go to corporate America, they're gonna make you cut that stuff off your head, But to me, I said I really want to keep my dreads because this one of the things that tied me back to Florida. So it's real personal for me. But I realized that, hey, if I'm going to have dreads, that's an excuse that an employer or somebody could potentially use to not give me an opportunity. So the calculated risk is that I had to be just as sharp everywhere else so they can overlook the dreads. And that's literally what happened. Following up 24 to 48 hours, making sure that I'm constantly, if they tell me to go to this meeting. If I got class, they tell me to go to an internship opportunity, I'm going to let my teacher know, hey, I got to go do something, be late. So just communicating and really putting all those things I learned to use. It blew me away of how easy it is to stand out when you have all the tools. Like,
Say that again. Say that one again. That's good too.
Just how easy it is to stand out when you, if someone wants to follow the so what game plan, the so what success plan, it's so you will be amazed at how easy success comes to you. And it's not because you're doing things. It's not because when you certain actions is a principle. Well, my dad always told me when it's a principle, it demands a certain response. So when you do certain things, when you are following that so what success plan, there's gonna be some things that's gonna automatically come because it's a principle of life. If you do good and you make sacrifices, then you don't look at the end game. You just do it to actually do it and to learn it, and you embrace the process. You will get to your destination sooner than you. I'm trying to figure out when you intentionally trying to figure if I make this move, it's just gonna get you there because you just want to get to the end goal. But if you embrace the process, embrace the journey, it's a game changer. And that's literally what has happened to me, and I'm blessed. Of course, it was God too. I got a praying mom, a praying dad, and I learned to have a relationship with God on my own. And if I could share this one other thing, Summer, I remember I did an intern. I had like 5 internships in 5 semesters. So I was only in Memphis for 5 semesters because I graduated in the summer. So I was there spring, fall, spring, fall, summer, and I graduated in the summer of 2013. And I remember I had an internship at MLG&W. I ended up getting another internship at Cummins Diesel in Indiana at the headquarters. And I made the decision, calculated risk taking, to leave. I already had my offer with International Paper. I already had my offer with MLG&W. But I felt like Memphis was a comfortable place. I knew how to network. I understood how to navigate corporate America as a black male as an intern. Be nice, be respectful. In Memphis, that's gonna take me a long way, right? Because they may not see that on a day-to-day basis. But I said, let me go to another state, a totally different geographical area. I went to Indiana, and I gave up my MLG&W job, declined my International Paper internship, which they wanted me to do the internship so I can get familiar with before I come to the full-time role, which I had already accepted. But I did that on a leap of faith. I said, God, if I'm really as good as I say I am, or that people tell me I am, because by this time, people tell me how smart you are, how talented you are, or you got a bright future. So I'm like, God, if this is everything that people are telling me, I need to go do it in a place where I have no help, where it's just me and you. And I still had to pay my bills. I was still paying my bills at Mount Moriah, at the trails at Mount Moriah. I left my car. I left all the comfort in Memphis to go to Indiana to stay in a sublet room. So that means I'm staying in a house with two other women, and an intern. I'd have no car. I'd have to take public transportation. The only transportation I had was a bike. And I didn't know anybody. And that was the calculated risk to say, God, show me and help me prepare for life after college, because, again, I'm going to be on the dance floor. And that was by far the best experience, because it helped me believe in Jeremy, not the words that Summer told me, or that my mom told me, or that my dad told me, but this was a chance for me and God to really connect, and it allowed me to have trust in Jeremy moving forward. And by far, I feel like that was one of the biggest decisions that I could have made. And my whole thought process was, if I leave MLG&W on a good note, I can always go back. If I leave IP on a good note, I can always go back. But I'm also looking at, this time I had a nonprofit. So now this I'm looking at, how do we create open doors for other people? I know I'm going to kill it, because I understand the game now in the process of what's going to make me stand out as a black male in my industry. I know some small things, but now it was, okay, can we open up the doors for other people, like my best friend Alex, like any students that I'm working with? And that was the risk. And it worked out tremendous. I had students that just based off recommendations got full-time offers at Cummins, International Paper, MLG&W. I'm like, that's what it was all about. We took a risk, we maximized it. Not only did it work out for me, but it opened the door for others. And to me, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate prize.
That is awesome. That is awesome to take that leap and make some steps and see what you can see for yourself and do for yourself, like you said, and with God's help. I got some stories in my life where I can certainly relate. I love hearing you share that. And it's been a beautiful thing to see what you've been able to do for other students and paying it forward. Because life goes by fast, doesn't it? So now you probably the age I was when I met you, and you did come out to my car, and now you being able to soak into other young people. It's awesome. It is awesome. Okay, Absolutely. Here's my next question, and you kind of talked about it, but how do you define success? What does success mean to you?
And I honestly, I don't know what I would define as success, but I think, but I guess if I had to put something around success, I would say setting out to do something and actually doing it, regardless of the obstacles, and getting the job done. Like, I think if you can create a habit and create some patterns of saying you're going to do something and do it despite the obstacles, I think you'll build healthy habits that will take you further on in life. So I would say success to start is having success in those small areas first, and developing those habits and traits that then you can take on bigger things. So
absolutely,
that's probably what I would define as success.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, one last thing. You've been dropping some nuggets. I mean, it's been some good stuff that you've been saying for sure. Last thing though is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be successful, whether it's a student, an adult, young professional, or somebody who's well into their career, but they want to be more successful and they may have some challenges? What advice would you give?
Yeah. First I would say, get a relationship with God. I think that for me, that's been my secret sauce. Having a relationship with God and really let my faith in. Excuse me. One of the things that one of the companies that I own is called Win on Purpose, and I believe that when you operate in God, it's one thing to win on purpose, meaning intentionally, but it's one thing to win on purpose when you operate in your purpose. Like, to me, that's the ultimate thing. So make sure you get a relationship with God to understand and know what your purpose is. The next thing I know is be real with yourself. A lot of times we try, we live in a glorified social media world, but I'm very transparent about Jeremy's shortfalls. There are some things that I know for a fact, like, I'm not good at, or that I always look at the opportunities to better myself, right? So I think I always have some form of self-awareness, and have people who will tell you the truth. So the first one is God. Second thing is good self-awareness, and have a group and a community around you who will tell you the truth. And the third thing is find somebody that you can admire, that can show you what it looks like. Because I know for me, they always say fake it till you make it. And that's one of the to me the best routes you can do it. If you see somebody doing something and it's successful, take components of that. And again, it's a principle. Some things that people do when you look at entrepreneurs, if you do these things, success is going to follow. And then the thing that helped me out, the last thing that I would say is, and I did this more so in college, when I was really on the grind and pushing. But one of my biggest things was create an atmosphere for success in your life, right? You got to create. You can't wait for the atmosphere to be right to take hold of. You got to create it yourself. So for me, I love music. Again, I'm a Florida boy. I love music. I'm a big Plies fan. Everybody know. My mama know. My dad. Everybody know that if my my favorite artist in the world is Plies. So I used to wake up every morning and I throw my favorite song on that got me hyped. And it automatically, it's almost like if you go to the club, if you hear that it's time to take off the 99 in the 2000, it's a certain atmosphere energy that's gonna come when you hear that beat. And for me, every single morning I had to create an atmosphere for success for me. And you got to figure out what it is. It could be walking, it could be listening to music, it could be yoga, it could be meditating, it could be praying. But I did what gave me the energy I needed and the strength that I needed every single day to give my best self. And that's what I would tell you all to do.
That's awesome, Jeremy. That is awesome. That is awesome. So you said so many good things and so many powerful things that I practice in my life too. Many of those things. So I know people watching this will take away a whole lot from that. And I do believe that some lives will be changed, just like you do with STS, from some simple words, just because a lot of those things that you talked about are the things that people struggle with, that we struggle with, and we need to move forward and be get past it. I love your vulnerability because you know me too. I'll gladly tell you where I got it wrong, where I messed up. I told you the other day.
Yeah.
Just where I'm like, no, I don't have it all figured out. No, I'm not perfect. I have not done it all right. And I don't want anybody to ever think that. And I can appreciate you sharing that too, and helping people see it's another side of this. So if you mad, if you angry, if you cutting up, if you're not doing, what you need to do in school, it's in school, whether that's middle school, high school, college, or if you're not even in school, but if your attitude is not right, you can turn that thing around and you can change your whole life and ultimately change a whole lot of other people's lives too.
Can I share two things real quick?
Absolutely.
If you don't mind? So I just want to go back to when we first met, guys. The work that Summer is doing is amazing. She's helping people to embrace their situation, to eliminate excuses, to reach the goals that they have in their life. Because obstacles and things, life is going to happen. But I remember us sitting down in McAllister Deli, again, we kind of talked about it a little bit on yesterday or the night before. Remember sitting in the McAllister deal and we asked you a question, hey, we trying to start a mentoring program. What would you advise us to do? And you told us, you said, I think you should do an all-male mentoring program. And we were like, all males? Like, yeah. Like, because this is something that's not out there. And that literally was the thing that gave us the traction, to, like, we even starting with males made us different, made us a little more attractive, and made people figure out, hey, this group is working with a group that publicly just people felt like needed more resources. And we use it as a foundation to build, to eventually have a women's program, to eventually have a collegiate program. But I said I have to say this is that when you listen to people who have done it before you, at that time you had already became an entrepreneur, you had already did the corporate thing, and you had transitioned out of FedEx, and you would get ready to transition out of FedEx.
Right.
Like, I wanted
right.
to.
Mm-hmm.
But you were giving us all these nuggets that you wish somebody would have told you. And I just want to encourage people to listen. Most people don't listen. You give them people advice, you give them nuggets, and you don't take it for gold. You can go into a classroom today, Summer, and tell them, hey, the person, you can call me for anything. I'm giving you my number, and no one will ever call.
I know.
They would never call. And then you see them again, they're like, oh, I was going to call. You weren't. Right? And I just want to encourage people to listen. When you got people that's important to you, trust them enough to put them at their word. And I always want to say thank you for really investing to Alton and myself from that day. And it really gave us the push and the focus that we needed, because we were going to go a whole different direction. But it really gave us the focus we needed to say, hey, all right, this is what we're going to do. And it wasn't said that we couldn't have a college program later, but it gave us a direct focus at that moment. And then the last two things is faith without works is dead. So no matter, I don't care how big your faith is, if you don't put no work in, it's not going to happen. Right? So faith without works is dead, and give back. It's some young person who it's some Summer Owens right now in Memphis, Tennessee that needs to hear Summer's story to know that she can become, the future Summer, Summer that you are today. So please give back to your community, because it's a younger version of yourself who needs to see the older version of you. So those are the
That's
last
awesome.
things I just wanted to share.
That is awesome. And I gotta put it back on you though, for real, because not only, so first of all, y'all reached out to me to have that meeting. So you took initiative. That was number one. You took that initiative. And then when you showed up for the meeting, y'all were dressed better than me. I was coming from my corporate job. On my lunch break, and each one of you were dressed better than me. Suit and tie. I couldn't do anything but take you seriously, very seriously. And I saw your heart and I saw your passion. And I'm a mother of a son, and he was younger than you all at that time, and we're still younger than you, but he was a young man at that time. I saw the need in the community that y'all maybe couldn't see. Just like when I was a young teen mom or even a college student, I couldn't even see the need for teen moms to see what I was doing. So I was able to be on the other side of that and be able to show you guys that. But it was you. It was only because you all were serious that I was able to be like, okay, this is what you need to do. And I would help you do anything. And I'm still committed to helping you do anything that I can do to help you be successful. Just super proud. So thank you for that, Jeremy. You just said a whole lot in a little bit of time. You just changed some lives.
Yeah.
I thank you so much. You have a great one.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.